How y'all doing tonight?
How you doing?
My name's Ricky. I'm an overcomer. Glad to be here tonight.
All right.
Everybody quiet. Y'all scared I'm finna throw you under the bus? I just drive it. I ain't gonna throw you under. Tonight I just wanna. This is what I want to talk about: being transformed. It's coming. I want to read chapter 12 of Romans, verse 1 and 2, because those two really go together. And when we put them together and start looking at them, it helps a lot. Romans 12, verse 1, it says, I beseech you, therefore, brother, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. Verse 2, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good, acceptable, and perfect will of God. So while we look at this, in our transformation that we're trying to focus on, that we're looking at, that we're going to talk about tonight, is a series. Everybody right now is trying to change something. They're trying to deal with something in their lives. But see, the thing of it is, if you're not ready for the transformation, which means there's a lot of work that's going to happen that you got to go through. In the recovery process, we call it working in steps. In the churches, talk about surrendering to God and allowing the Holy Spirit to move. So while we are part of overcomers, we are talking about a bridging the gap. So we mix the two, recovery and Bible together. But guess what? If you ever look at it real closely, recovery comes straight out of the Bible. And what they use for the steps comes straight out of the Bible. But they had to word it so that anybody who has a different ideology can use it and look at it and have it to help them to change. How many of y'all in here who thought you were an atheist or agnostic at one time? Got one. And the transformation of trying to work a 12-step program with I don't believe in God, I can't accept God, and they're saying you got to have a God to pray to, you know. And in recovery, they give you this little snippet of, if you have a problem with God, then they say good, orderly directions. Now, when you take that and put it into operation, you start seeing something different, you know, or you could be just like I was. When I came in here, they were talking about finding God, and I had a problem with God, and I had a problem with everybody who told me about God, because I hadn't had about 20 different variations of what God was. Because see, when I was growing up, summertime, all the churches had different weeks for vacation Bible school. So they was the babysitters. So one week you had the Holiness Church. Next week you had the Catholic Church. Next week you had the Baptist Church. Next week you had the Pentecostal Church. Next week you had the Oh Lord Save My Mule Church. Huh? And you got all of these different doctrines being pushed at you, and each one saying, we are the only way to get to heaven. And you going to hell if you don't follow God through our direction. So when you got a mindset that has been inundated with this year after year after year, now you want to know, who am I going to truly believe? And one of the things that they helped me when I first come into recovery, they started talking about finding your own understanding of God. Just as simple. Got to break it down just like a baby. A baby does not know who their parents are. They just know who that person is and make sure that they change, that they fed, and that they cared for. That's it. And as they grow, then they get to understand who the person is, and then we get to make decisions. So here's the thing, when we're trying to transform from and change from where we are to something better than what's going on in our lives, then we get to take a look at the things that are happening around us. And we get to come to places like this. But see, us in Overcomers, we have the answers, because we know that when we use the scriptures and we apply the scriptures, then it helps us to see how to get to the other side of the problem. Because see, there's a lot of folks tell you a whole bunch of different ways. We got 12 ways to do this here, 6 ways this way, and if you flip on your head, or if you just come and give us a little money, we'll give you this cloth and pray over it, and it will fix every problem in your life. And when you do all of that, and your life is still going to hell in the handbasket, because it will, because life throws life problems at you all the time, no matter what. If you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. But there's a thing called a spiritual axiom. It is, which way are you looking at it? The spiritual axiom in the recovery process is am I looking at the solution, or am I looking at the problem? How many of you are still looking at the problem, trying to figure out how to fix the problem?
So right.
How many of you know what the solution is? What's the solution? Somebody tell me what the solution is. I want to get somebody over here, then I'm gonna get you. What's the solution?
Leave him alone.
Leave what alone? Everything. Now you said what now?
Stop your addiction.
Say that again.
Like stop your addiction, you know, the problem. Like, what you mean by addiction?
Okay, go ahead. High power? Okay. You trying to figure out,
Yeah.
see,
I'm trying to say it.
what you're looking at is still the problem.
Okay.
If I'm trying to fix my addiction and I'm looking at my addiction, but I'm not using, why am I looking at my addiction? The solution is not to use, right?
Right.
Not to use. If that's the solution, why is it so hard for me to stop? Huh?
That's what happens.
Because you're at it.
It's so hard.
So there's what now? As an addict, what that mean?
We do things, we obsess, we go over and over.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Cravings.
The cravings?
Yeah.
Something that has taken over that you have no control over, we call that the addiction. When it takes priority in your thinking and the way you're looking at it and how it has taken over and you cannot see a way out. So how many of y'all had to get all the way to rock bottom before you even thought there even came a thought there's a way out?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because we're always trying to find a solution, but we're still focusing on the problem. What it say? In verse 2, it says, do not be conformed to the mindset that says you can't quit. Do not be conformed to the mindset that you can't quit. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed. Now, the transformation that we're looking at and talking about is the transformation that says there's something better. How many of y'all think there's something better than what? Okay. How do you get there? Anybody know? Huh?
Surrender.
Surrender,
Change the-
work the steps,
Yeah, work the steps.
who else?
Change everything.
Change everything? What else?
Hope and faith.
Give it to God.
Give it to God. He said, get a job. I know one gentleman I used to work with years ago, and he always run around and said, if I had this, it would solve all my problems. Then he got that. It didn't solve any problem. If I had this girl, he got the girl.
More
It
problem.
didn't solve it. He got the job. It didn't solve his problem. He got the money. Hmm?
Did you get a dog?
Huh?
Did you try with the dog?
No, him,
Maybe.
he didn't like dogs, so he wasn't gonna get a dog. He didn't like dogs. He liked everything but dogs. Mhm. But the thing of it is, if we are not ready to allow something new to come in, because to get to transformation, we have to be ready for new things to happen. We got to be ready to accept new ideas and new concepts into our lives. We got to be ready to watch other folks who we see what we want happening in their lives and start following them to learn how to do what they do. Not ask them how, learn how. That's what transformation is. Huh? That's what being transformed by the renewing of your mind. That means that stuff that's been going on in my head is not my friend. Hmm? All those people. How many folks have y'all blamed for your addiction?
Ellen.
Huh?
Cause I'm so sweet, I don't know.
Woo, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one. I'm the sweetest person I know. Mhm.
And I said that.
And I've said it
And
too.
then,
I've said it too. Because I thought, yeah. Because what we have gone through and the stuff that we have been inundated with in our lives says that we're not good enough, that no matter what we do, because see, we can say, you know, how many times have you thought God ain't gonna never help me? Has anybody had that thought? All the dirt I done?
Yeah.
All the people I done run over? All the mess and all the, oh, let's not talk about all the sins that I've done. Huh? Have you ever just sit down and try to count all the sins that you've done in your life?
It's too many. Too many.
Too many. Guess what? There's a God that said, no matter what, you bring it to me. Ask for forgiveness, and I forgive you. You give it to me. You ain't got to hold on to it. Have you ever had a big old sack full of rocks and try and drag them and pick them up and carry them down the road? Big heavy.
baggage.
Burden.
So who's holding on the baggage right now?
Give it to God.
Because see, the transformation that we're talking about is taking what's going on in your life that you're looking at. Because see, all our past is just that. It has passed. Now, if I'm still trying to fix the past, guess what I can't do?
And God has forgotten about it, right?
Well, he has.
Since.
If you've given it to him, if you've gone to him for forgiveness and surrender and wanting him, but if you haven't, he can't. Because he can't until you come to it. He's made that requirement. You gotta come to him. in order for him to give it to me. For him to be able to take it. I want to tell you this, and I tell this story a lot. You know, that's God working in his shop. And he's got a bunch of stuff that he's working on. And then there's this little kid had a broken toy. And so the kid decided he's gonna bring his broken toy to God. You know, he got a relationship with God. So he's gonna bring his broken toy to God. He said, God, can you fix this? And God said, yeah. And so time went on, and time went on, and time went on. Little kid grabbed his toy and took off. But he stopped and turned and looked at God and said, God, I thought you were gonna fix my toy. He said, how could I fix it? You never let go. Until we let go of it, God can't fix it. Until we let go of it. That's why I say, if you're still focusing on the problem will increase. It will be the only thing that you can see. There's no solution that you can find. How many times have you looked at the problem and thought you found the solution, and when you tried it, it didn't work? How many have you done that? Somebody tell me one of the things you did. You thought you had a solution, but it was really just.
Moved,
Moved. You moved?
thought I could, you know,
Mm-hmm.
help my addiction out by getting away from the people I used with.
You got away from the people you used with? Except for that woman.
Now, this time I went to San Francisco, I went to Houston, I went everywhere in
So tell me, what did you find in San Francisco?
a rehab,
Uh-huh.
that, you know, said that my insurance wasn't gonna cover me since I'm not in Texas anymore, so I came back to Texas. So I did fine.
Oh, okay. What'd you find in San Antonio?
Well, in Houston,
Uh-huh.
I went back to Houston, once again, another rehab, and then I found a discipleship. And I have, you know, I've spent this whole year trying to get clean, because I've been praying, please take this addiction away from me, please take this addiction system.
Okay.
And I just could not stay, and here I'm 60 years old, and I still have had a hard
So this
time.
is your message, okay. Now, you had your hand up, yes, sir.
I move by myself.
You woke up by yourself?
I find myself.
Oh, you find yourself?
I keep on trying to get away from people I used to, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm the main one I use.
Mm.
That's who I was.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's an old saying that I've heard, it goes, no matter where you go, there you are.
There you are.
Mm-hmm. No matter where you.
And I've tried to, like, slow down how much I was using,
Mm-hmm.
so that I could, you know, I'll just use on the weekends, and then eventually I'm gonna stop. But if I don't use every day, and I just use, but of course, I was lying to myself. You gotta be honest and, willing and open-minded.
Mm-hmm. So how many folks are doing harm reduction? Y'all know what harm reduction is?
What do you do?
Hmm?
Trying to cut back. trying to-
That's it.
Yeah.
You trying to operate.
Okay, you say yes? Uh-huh.
That's what's that like being less aggressive?
Okay, here's what harm reduction is what they say harm reduction is doing less and trying to get focused on doing less after you start cutting back. So if you were doing it every day, you try and cut back to every other day, and then try and cut back to every couple of days, and then you keep trying to do less and less each time until you stop. Some folks, it might work. There are some folks say it works, and as many say it hadn't worked for them. So, but I come from the old school of you got to stop everything.
Yeah.
That's where I come from.
One is-
But I'm willing to learn and find out. That's why I had to ask that question if somebody was doing it, so they could help me to understand. Yes, sir, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I've been to 2 other inpatient treatments, and I thought that I could, do the inpatient treatment, then do an outpatient treatment, and then have 2 years of sobriety, and then, go back and use, on the weekends only. And then 1 day on the weekend turn into 2 days on the weekend, and 2 days on the weekend meant
You're
that I could do 1 day during the week. Just kept on adding up like you're talking about.
Mhm. So it didn't reduce, it started to increase it.
Yep.
Mhm. This is what I'm talking about, it is the mindset that we're working with. It's still the mindset that says we can't make it, we think the mindset says that we can do a little bit. Look at me, I can't do a little bit of nothing. Especially when it comes down to food, and I gotta go see the doctor Wednesday and talk about, she gonna be talking about, you need to lose weight. Cause the last time, 6 months ago, she said I need to lose weight, and I ain't got there yet, so she gonna be really talking hard at me Wednesday when I go, and then I'm finna go on a cruise, so when I come back, they're gonna be real hard on me. Cause I made a contract with my pastor on accountability when I get back.
Start taking care of these. Start doing it.
So-
You gotta get moving, you gotta start pushing yourself.
So
You gotta
really,
move it.
I said this message was for you, it's not, it's really for me. But I'm just sharing it with you, cause I need it just as bad as anybody else needs it, because still, in our lives, we still go through different things, and we find other things, cause once we find out, we get to the solution to one problem, another one raises its head.
That onion.
Cause see, it's just like taking the onion and you peel one layer off and you leave it sitting there.
Always.
Now you got another layer that's then went rotten, you gotta peel it off. Now you done let it sit there, now you got another layer. And so now you're trying to peel an onion and then to get down to the good stuff. And you gotta keep peeling. And if you don't let it sit there too long, the whole thing done went bad. But the thing of it is, we're trying to show you a solution, because there's some principles that we use that changes everything. That changes everything. Because we use things that talks about surrender, step 1. Looking at the insanity that we've created in our lives. Because so many times we don't want to look at the fact that everything that the choices we done made has caused insane thoughts and actions. And then we got to find that God of our understanding. And then we got to take that inventory so we can see the stuff that we really need to get rid of. That's when you start really getting to the solution. But see, the only way you can get there is you put all that stuff down on paper that you don't want to put down on paper, that you don't think you need to put down on paper.
That's the real stuff you gotta put in.
And then you can turn around and sit down with somebody who can analyze that has already done what you've done. They've already done this process before. And they probably done it, if you've got somebody like a sponsor, then they have gone through it with several other folks. So when you bring it to them, they look at it, and most of the sponsors, our first prayer is, let it be something new. Because most of the time, we're hearing something that we done heard 1,000 times. And we done heard the rationalization and the justification of what they were doing and how they think it should be fixed. How many of y'all have thought that you need to tell them that they need to help you in a certain way?
All the time.
I see a bunch of folks lying to themselves. Huh?
Question.
Have you ever thought in your mind, say, I'm gonna get somebody to help me, but I want them to help me a certain way?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want them to talk to me any kind of way. And I ain't gonna do everything they say do. you know, when you talk about doing them steps, I'm gonna do step 1, 2, and 3. And step 4, we're gonna do certain parts of step 4 and step 5. We're not gonna tell you everything. We're gonna tell you some of the stuff, just enough to get some relief, you know. And we might look at the rest of the steps, you know, and we wanna carry the message. But see, we still got the sack. Remember a while ago I talked about, have you ever had one of those big heavy sacks full of rocks? And somebody said, it's that baggage, huh? You know, have you ever seen somebody run into the airport with, then they got about 4 or 5 bags and they're trying to get, and they're running late and they're trying to get them in there and they're tripping and running into everybody? That's us with our baggage. We step on people. We run over people with our baggage that we're holding on to, that we're scared to let go of, that we don't want to get rid of. And it's the stuff, and every now and then, it'll bounce up and hit you upside the head and hurt you because that old stuff is not good for you. It's time to let go of it. That's what this is talking about. That old way of thinking, that old way of living, it's time to change from that. Huh? It's time to put some new perspective in there, you know? Cause see, if I've been listening to Bobby Blue Bland all these years, and now I wanna try to be a godly man, Bobby Blue Bland ain't gonna get me there. You gonna tell me about them old time blues. All that other good stuff, you know, how to feel and all of this here, and all of that. But see, I need something new in, huh?
You renew your mind, like going through what we like through our addiction and you're trying to change.
Okay.
You know,
Thank you. That's a real good question. That's the best question asked tonight.
you keep saying, no, I'm like, and I was listening to the scripture that and then it's like I start renewing on your mind. But how do you?
Okay. How do you learn something new? Try.
Read about it, investigate.
Study,
Read about it, investigate. You say study.
study to show yourself approved.
Study, show yourself approved. So what you want to, what do you want to renew?
Come on.
It's my mind, it's like, you know, to
Okay.
get away from the baggage.
All right. I'm gonna give you.
Quit beating myself up about it.
Okay. I'm gonna give you something to do. Put into practice. Okay. Do you pray? How often do you pray?
Throughout the day.
Every day? Okay. All right. Well, let's try this in. Before you go to bed tonight, thank God that you made it through the day, that you didn't get high today. When you get up in the morning, you say, God, help me not to be focusing on my mess and focus more on you today. Then, you got a Bible? How often do you read it?
Well, I'm going to read the Bible a year on my Bible.
Okay. But the question is,
I don't know. I just do the scriptures that come. I mean, the readings that come up.
Okay. But do you look at it every day?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the answer. Every day. It doesn't matter if you're reading 14 passages or 12 chapters or so, or you reading one little verse. Because sometimes it takes me just reading that one verse and then going to the next verse before I can understand. So see, I can run through that and read a whole bunch of a chapter and don't get nothing. But see, he said it a while ago, study. That means I'm gonna have to get in there and get the understanding. Do you got a dictionary? Okay. You might need to put the dictionary next to your Bible. Okay. And that's what you don't understand. Go look up the words so you can understand. Okay, so I just gave you 2 things. Pray. Now, how many times I said pray?
At night and in the morning.
Okay. Okay. So that's 3.
What kind of music do you listen?
I'm kind of all around.
Okay. The music that you just heard us play a while ago. I mean, I was Ozzy and all that other stuff, you know what I mean? But changing the music, I mean, I can get down on this music now. I mean, I was like, yeah, I get into this music now. Cause it means something to, you know, living it, it means something to me. When you change, I mean, that's transforming your thinking when you hear this lifted up music and stuff, it'll set your tone for the day and help you get going. So it's, you know, not just, you know, reading and studying, it's the things you listen to. Going to church instead of going over to do this or that, you know.
You're at Homeward Bound right now, right?
No,
You're not? You're not in Homeward, okay, then, for those that's in Homeward Bound, this next one's gonna be hard to do. Is calling somebody every day that's in recovery doing what you wanna be doing. But for you, you're not in there, so you got a sponsor?
yes, sir.
How often do you call your sponsor? Ow! She been ducking and dodging on every last one of these.
When I'm having a hard time.
No. Every day, get in the habit. Cause how many times have you said, I need to call my sponsor and didn't pick the phone up? And how many times did you beat yourself up after that? Huh? And you talking about, you wanna renew your mind, right? You wanna renew everything, you wanna do the transformation, right? So if you start doing these things on a regular basis, get up in the morning, pray, ask God to keep you through the day, read scripture. And quit beating yourself up if you're not reading. But if you're reading 5 minutes, you're doing better than 90% of people in the world. And you got a phone?
Yes.
So now, and you got a sponsor. So there's a challenge for you right there. Huh? That's number 3. Number 4, you're doing that right now. How often do you go to meet?
Well, I come here Monday.
Okay, what about the rest of them?
I watch a church service and, you know, just.
Now, what?
No, it's some, I like this kind of meeting because I don't like going to like AA,
Okay, what addiction or what problem are you trying to work through?
What was that? I'm sorry.
What problem are you trying to work through?
Just to beating up myself about, you know, what I put myself to.
So you didn't have no drinking problem?
Oh, yeah, I had drinking and drugs.
Drugging? And you don't want to go to these other places that help you with your drinking and your drugging?
I'm 2 years clean and I did that. I was church guy.
But wait a minute. Now you done made me have to go a little deeper. Cause see, yeah, just cause how hard has it been to get, you done had to fight nothing to get that thing.
I didn't.
Fight nothing, I mean, struggle real hard.
Yes, I did. This is my second issue. And yeah.
We're giving you suggestions that make it a whole lot easier. What we do? Easier, softer way.
Easier.
Softer way.
Okay.
If you get around people who are in recovery on a daily basis, guess what? There's a 90% chance that you're gonna have better understanding what recovery is and want to do it even more. Because now you have to take it, because you talk about you want to renew your mind, right? And when you're sitting at home and you're sitting with some of the most dangerous people I know, me, myself, and I.
Right.
Be around recovery people, you're gonna learn more about recovery. You're around people that go to church and Bible, you're gonna learn more about God. What you see?
Okay, wait.
It's a different feeling. I feel triggered when I go to a I'm like, somebody gonna ask, hey, you wanna know?
See,
But you know, it's
I
like there's some people.
got it now.
just there trying to get somebody to get, I don't know, that's just my way.
They do that.
I don't-
But if you're looking for the solution, remember, if you're looking for the solution, the solution is gonna show up. Go looking for the solution. Quit going looking at the problem.
Okay, got you.
Huh?
I got you.
You trying to go find the problem. You can't fix the problem. Solution. Transformation is we're trying to find a solution so that we can transform. That's going to change us from where we are to where, you know, because God didn't say that this road got to be struggle. Yeah, you're gonna have your difficulties in life, but let them be the difficulties of life, and don't manifest them. Because see, what you're doing is you're trying to look at what the world is doing. Put God in there. Let God guide you. When you go to Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, God help me find somebody that I can relate to. God help me find somebody I can talk to. When I go to the NA meeting, God, don't let me hear that negative stuff. Let me receive the positive stuff. You got to keep asking God and let God keep letting the Spirit help you to know where to focus. And because then when you get that part that you want to do, draws you. You draw the ones that are doing what you need. That's gonna help. Because if I'm focusing on the problem, I'm gonna find somebody that else is focusing on the problem. We're gonna be drawing together. Yeah, I want to tell this one story here right quick. I'm a retired truck driver, and I had gotten a load to Florida, Fort Lauderdale at that. And so they put me up in a hotel while I was down there. So I went to the beach and hung around the beach. But before I had looked through the book, thinking about where the meeting was around. And so when I got down to the beach and I had myself a good time, now I forgot about where the meeting was, and I'm trying to figure out, And I took walking straight down the street and walking. And I said, they say, whatever you're looking for, you'll find it. I said, I'm looking for a meeting. I want to find a meeting. And I'm gonna put this to the test. And I walked down the street, walked into the shopping center, and something said, go on off in there. And I walked in the shopping center, and I seen these two guys, and they looked like they ought to be either getting high or in recovery, one or two, and I wasn't sure which one. But I was drawn to them, and they was headed in a direction. They were finna go up a set of steps. And I stopped them. I said, hey, I don't know you in anything, but I'm trying to find a meeting. You know what they said? Follow us. Follow us. Because I done put it in the atmosphere. I'm on the solution. So if you're on the solution and you put it in the atmosphere, it's gonna draw you. When I'm scared, whatever I'm scared of, I'm drawing it.
Yes.
But when I have faith and I have hope and I'm trusting God because He has transformed me, because I'm ready to do something new and something different. Me standing up here talking to y'all is not something that I was ever wanted to do, ever thought I could do. Think I was worthy or able to do. I had to get up here and stumble several times, talking to people, sharing about how different stuff, Today, it's about getting up here and sharing my experience, strength, and hope with you, letting you know that if you're ready to transform, if you're ready to renew your mind, if you're ready to do something new, if you're ready to stop getting high, I want to ask right quick, anybody heard anything tonight? I might have had y'all too confused to even think about baptism. Anybody heard anything tonight that might want to get baptized, change their mind and say they want to get baptized? Okay. Well, in a couple of minutes, we'll go back in and watch them get baptized. You know, and right now, what I want to do for the next couple of minutes, I want you to ask any question that you got, and any question how I got you confused, or anything like that, or make a statement, anything. So I'm gonna open up the floor for you. Go ahead.
Tell us a little bit about past life.
Okay, my past was out for a long time. I drank and I drugged and I done all kinds of other stuff. And in 1987, I was working for Lone Star Gas, reading gas meters. And I had told some of the guys that I was getting high with on my birthday, I'm gonna quit. And then I said, if I don't quit on my birthday, I'm gonna have to go somewhere and get some help. Well, my birthday came and gone. And it was the same time, matter of fact, next month, I'll be celebrating 39 years. And so the thing of it is, I found myself at that point where I couldn't stop. And that holiday weekend, I went to my ex-girlfriend's house, crashed a party, drunk up all the liquor, smoking up all that weed, and then she was talking to her ex-husband, and they was out there in the truck, and I got mad and went and snatched her out of the truck and put it in my car
Oh,
and took off
oh, no.
with her. And he chased me all the way to my house.
I'm sure it is.
And once we got to my house, I pulled up in the driveway, he jumped out of the truck, run up, had a 357,
Oh,
pointed it right at me, hammer cocked, and I had a gun pointed at him because I wanted to take him out at the same time he'd take me out because I was too cowardly to do it myself. So I done orchestrated this because I was at the end. And these are the words that he said to me, "You're not worth it.
oh, wow.
You're not worth it." I wasn't worth one bullet. I wasn't worth the agony that he was gonna have to go through if he shot me. Huh? And then I come to understand today, if he'd have shot me, I would have never got the shot off to shoot him. But see, my great magnifying mind said I could. See, that's why I keep talking about what's going on in our heads that makes us think we're looking at the solution, but we're really looking at the problem. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I lost my life after I put 3 holes in somebody that was 7-11. It wasn't worth it. Life was straight out of here after that.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any comments? Anything? Did you? Huh?
I just remembered what I did in the past when I'm not happy about. I cut this my fingers off. I was just telling her, it's not something to brag about.
Are you ready to forgive yourself?
So,
Okay, that's it. Okay, let's go back. They should be ready in just a minute.